Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's IAUG webcast, Powering Performance, Advanced Avaya Strategies from intlx Solutions, presented by intlx Solutions. Before we begin, I want to thank you for participating in today's webinar and for your support in IAUG. To our current members and those that are now new members by means of joining us today, I encourage you to visit iaug.org to get more information about how to get the most out of your membership, including upcoming events like IAUG Converge, our annual event taking place September 22nd to the 24th in Kansas City, Missouri. Now, before we begin, I have 3 quick housekeeping items to go over. First, today's webinar will be recorded and available for you on demand. Second, a Q&A session will follow today's presentation. All questions will need to be entered in your Q&A window at the toolbar at the bottom of your screen and can be entered at any time during the presentation. And third, there will be a short evaluation that pops up as you exit the webinar. Please take a moment and let us know what you thought of today's session and what you might like to see going forward. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'll turn it over to our presenters for today.
Good morning, good afternoon. Jeremy, you get our slides up there. So today, my name is Kenny Pearl. I'm the president and founder of intlx Solutions. And Jeremy and I are going to be talking to you today a little bit about the company and our intlx 360 offering. But first, my job here in the webinar is to educate you a little bit about our company and kind of let you know what we do and kind of how we started. And I like to always do that when I talk to people first about the company. It's kind of just my own personal work history. I started myself at Lucent Technologies back in the late 90s, to date myself a little bit, working out of Boston. And during that time, I spent some time working a lot with customers, with fellow engineers, and I stayed with Avaya until 2009. And then after that, I went on to work at some large business partners, Avaya business partners up in the Northeast. And during all that time, the reason I mention all this is it gave me a very interesting perspective. While I worked at Avaya, I was able to see kind of how the customers consume the product, right? Being part of the product house support and all that. Then on the partner side, I was able to kind of see how we, the partner, worked with Avaya, and also how the customers worked with the partner, and also kind of how they saw Avaya. So it gave me a really good perspective on all that. And one thing I learned, really to sum it all up in a nutshell, and really the reason why I started the company, was that customers, they really just want to work with really good engineers. That at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want engineers who are passionate about what they do, who understand the solutions at a deep level, and who aren't afraid to just jump in and help them out and work with them. And so that's really the mission of intlx Solutions, really just to kind of put the best workforce forward for the customers, and on the back end inside the company to make it that we have a really nice environment for those engineers to thrive, and a nice sandbox and to play around in, and it really kind of encourage that kind of spirit. So what we have up here is our little history. We're celebrating our 10th year in business this year. Actually, last month was our 10 years in business, so it's quite an accomplishment for us there. And we founded the company in 2015, really. And again, our mission was to really provide the best workforce we could. And as you can see on our little timeline here, in 2017, we acquired part of Dictronics. They were another Avaya partner up here in Massachusetts. Got some great customers out of that. And in 2019, we named to the Inc. 5000's list of fastest growing private companies in the US. In 2021, we acquired Hilltop Technologies out of Connecticut, and we acquired some great customers in that acquisition, and also some great employees that are still with us to this day. And in 2022, we had the need to find a division of the company out in Ireland, because we have some customers out there that we work with, and it's a lot easier for us to procure licenses and things like that in country to get around the VAT taxes and things like that. So in 2022, we started that. That's been a very good thing for us. To just let us work with our customers in the EU much easier with those distribution relationships. One of the exciting acquisitions we made was really a couple of years ago. In 2023, we acquired Alarmtraq. Some of you in the Avaya space may be familiar with what Alarmtraq was. It was some really cool monitoring software created by a guy named Jim Riley. We acquired that in 2023. We also doubled our headcount in 2023 and obtained diamond status with Avaya back then. So 2023 was a very instrumental year for us, and we've just kind of continued growing the company in a positive way. In 2024, again, we're named to the Inc. 5000's fastest growing private companies. We're also named Avaya's Mid-Market Growth Partner of the Year in 2024 at Avaya Engaged in Denver last year, which is a very nice award to win for the company. And part of what we're going to be spending most of the presentation on today is talking to you about our intlx 360, which is our really dashboard instant management program. I can't do it nearly as much justice as Jeremy can, so I'm not going to talk about it too much right now. I'm just going to see if we can just click on to the next slide, Jeremy, please. Great. So in a nutshell, why intlx, right? I've said it a couple times, it's the team, it's our engineering expertise. We have well over 20 US-based engineers, all highly certified, currently certified on the Avaya platform, understand all aspects of it, and the skills that the team brings, it's across all types of work, right? It's installation, it's maintenance, it's architecting, it's planning, migrations, monitoring, customization. We do it all, and we do it all with US-based employees, and we're very proud to say that. And what we try to do too is just try to make consuming our services effortless for the customers, right? So we try to make it so anything we do adds value. So a lot of you who are, in this space and maybe work with a large deployment of Avaya stuff, right? It means Avaya and other things, other vendors, other relationships, other contracts to worry about. When people work with intlx, and what we try to offer as a managed service partner is that we manage all that stuff for you, right? So customers come to us to say, listen, I've got Task, I have Avaya, I might have audio codes, I might have some other relationships, right? And I have all these contracts all over the place. We sit down with the customers and really kind of just try to get all those things right sized and then get them into our system so we can get ahead of all those renewals 90 days out and just really make it really easy for you to own the solution and kind of sit back and just see value in what we bring to the table. The slide Jeremy has up here right now, I'll just go back one, JB, real quick. Thank you very much. This is just some of the stuff that we do, our services and solutions. So we are a full trunk carrier. We do the full implementation of SIP trunking, so the porting, the billing, customized billing. We can bring in dedicated circuits if that's something that what customers like, with 4G backup. And expense management around all that stuff, so we can be the turnkey trunking provider. So we can give our our customers quotes showing how much they can save, and then we do the whole implementation, the setting up of the SIP trunk, porting, the configurations needed on the Avaya side. We do all that, make it pretty turnkey for the customers, and a lot of the customers we have on the trunking platform are very happy, just in terms of how easy it was to get there, and the cost savings they're realizing right now. And we do have full managed services across the whole Avaya Aura stack and IP Office, and professional services and staff augmentation to go along with all those. So if you can just click onto the next slide for me, for time's sake here, Jeremy, make sure I give you enough time. Thank you very much. So the next few slides I wanted to hit on here, these are just some of the things that we're doing right now with our customers around Avaya currently. So we kind of look back in our the past year, past 6 months, a lot of the projects that we have a lot of projects going on right now as a company, but some of the high level ones, as you see on the left here, the Aura release 10.2 upgrades. Avaya, as a lot of you probably know on the call, is really enforcing the migration away from G650s and stripping out some of probably the code that's going to be supporting that, going over to the G450 or the G430 gateways. So we're doing quite a bit of those projects. A lot of customers are taking advantage of that, trying to get rid of some of that old hardware. And in that effort, we're doing a lot of right sizing of the physical footprint of the phone system. So it's been some really good projects for us. And with that, some of the gotchas that we run into are the AES compatibility, right? So the adjuncts we have, the CTI adjuncts, we have to be very aware of what software libraries are talking to each other, what's versioning, and oftentimes that kind of dictates the stepping of the upgrades and what we do in what order, right? And we're doing a lot of disaster recovery testing for customers too. CM failovers, session manager failovers, SBC failovers, trunking, and how all that business continuity stuff works when we're in those kind of like rainy day modes. So we're documenting those for customers, going through those things. And still doing quite a bit of 911 work around customers trying to get current, universities and other manufacturing, making sure that they're adhering to Carrie's Law and the Ray-Baum Act with their multi-line phone system. Some people getting some eyes on that, making sure that they are compliant. And we're doing quite a bit of subscription license renewals now. We try to get in front of our customers like 6 months out, to kind of just making sure we can get all the reports, all the usage data that we can, take advantage of any credits with Avaya, start that negotiation process, and to kind of minimize the increases to costs, right? So, some customers we're working with now, they went subscription when it first came out, maybe like 3-5 years ago, and they kind of went in that window there and they got a really good price, and we're trying to make sure we can kind of get them that price on the subsequent negotiations. We're spending quite a bit of time doing that. And the next slide, Jeremy, I think we got a couple of more things we're doing here. We're doing a lot of certificate renewal projects. I think Jeremy will hit on that in the 360 dashboards, and we kind of got some automations around that we use, and we're really happy and really proud of stuff we built here. Well, our workflow kind of kicks off for the customers that we support on our managed services 90 days out automatically. And we conduct audits of this stuff every week. And we handle the process, we handle the certificate renewal, the maintenance procedures with our customers, right? Letting them know that, hey, this is what's going to be impacted. This is the date we're thinking about doing it. So when we say we renew certificates, we really try to handle that whole thing and add value, because we understand that, it's not just a matter of us saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, we got to renew the certificate on your session manager. We have to say, well, we need to renew it, and here's what that thing attaches to, right? Here's what that session manager means to your business. Here's what we have to schedule for an outage, right? Let's get a few wheels, let's just coordinate it, and let's get it done. So we're doing quite a bit around that. And those of you who own Aura, now its certificates are super important, and there's no getting around it anymore. We're out doing quite a bit of remote worker stuff too. As you know, a lot of you on the call probably are aware of the changes around Avaya's clients. Avaya Workplace, replacing 1X Communicator, replacing 1X Agent, and a lot of those features now are included in your subscription contract. So a lot of times, taking advantage of a lot of these things, it's not an investment in licensing as much as it is an investment in reviewing your architecture and doing some deployment and getting some professional services to take advantage of this stuff. Can you go to the next slide, please, John? Perfect. So, we do have some, doing quite a bit of projects, folks moving off of Avaya or hybridizing it a little bit or integrating it. And with that, we're doing quite a bit with Microsoft Teams. Might start with a proof of concept with the customer, trying to bring in some users, evaluating the feature differences between the two, like, hey, here's my Avaya soft phone, here's my Teams, how does this work, right? And then making the decisions with the customer and trying to explain the architecture and how things would work. If they want to keep the Avaya over here, give some folks Teams, where do we want the phone numbers to live? What does that look like? What's that going to cost, right? If we deliver all that traffic into Teams versus over here, what do we lose in terms of configurability and oversight? So we've been doing a lot of those projects with customers. I think we're going to continue to see that go along here in the next coming year, looking at our current funnel. And then also too, as a lot of you probably on this call, like we're talking on a Zoom webinar right now, there's many options with UCaaS, ACO, RingCentral, Zoom Intermedia are some of the partners that we work with. And really what we're seeing around that is a lot of customers, it's really around the need of what they're looking for, the budget that they're looking to spend, how many users, kind of what that UCaaS means to them and their business. Everybody has a different kind of value that they put on these technologies and what it means to them. Another interesting thing we've been doing quite a bit of, actually, it's surprising to me how much we're doing of it, is just we're doing a lot of analog overhead paging. And some of those things are integrating with the phone system, maybe integrating with Teams on the cloud side. We're really seeing customers looking for that kind of overall, like, a high-tech paging solution, still kind of integrated with the phone systems. That stuff's really not going away. And I hit on this one a little bit too, but we have quite a bit of a few customers now looking to kind of enhance the 911, E911 functionality in their phone system. A lot of folks are, they have that email notification or that pop-up, but now there's some other stuff coming out with some geofencing capabilities and Alyssa's law, where you have that silent panic alarm that's linked to law enforcement. It varies by state depending upon the level of compliance that we need. So we're doing quite a bit with customers on that. So just want to give you a little flavor of who we are and what we do. And I would like to turn it over now to Jeremy Bullard, our Director of DevOps, who's going to talk to you about our intlx 360 platform.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Pearl. I had a similar way or journey to getting to intlx solutions and to understanding the customer experience. So as part of my journey, I was at Avaya for many years. I would get out in front of customers and I would understand their problems that they're experiencing, and then understanding how their experiences along that journey. So when I came to intlx solutions, one of the things that I started to focus on is how can we improve a customer's journey and be able to transition a customer's experience from being a reactive experience to a problem management experience. So one of the things that we've created here at intlx Solutions is called our intlx 360 platform. And with this intlx 360 platform, what it actually allows us to do is provide advanced data analytics to customers, but to make that data human readable and to really transition a customer to be able to look at issues over time, so that way they can bring resolution to issues that they wouldn't have necessarily been aware of before. So with this new product, intlx Solutions 360, we provide the advanced, centralized advanced data analytics into one dashboard, so that way you have one place to kind of go. It brings that decision-making process into a very simplistic model, so that way it's human readable, and you can make actions or take actions based off of that data. It's ZTNA, so Zero Trust Network Access, so it's very secure as far as getting access into customers' environments. There's multi-factor authentication for identity validation, encryption of the data to protect the data, both in transit and rest, and improve decision-making ability. So basically optimize systems through problem management. So the key of this is making sure that we collect the data, bring it into one centralized location, but make it very easy for people to make decisions based off of the data. So a lot of the features that come with the intlx 360 platform, we get the alarm management, availability management, incident management, CDR management, certificate management, continuity management, release management, security management. And we also have a traffic management that we just released out this past month. So a lot of these are all components of being able to provide that insight into the vertical. So all of these Avaya systems coming together into one spot to be able to provide an action. So basically, alarm management is defined pretty much as the overall, looking at the overall health of the system. So not all alarms that come into a system are actionable. So the whole goal of the platform is to be able to understand not only what you're alerting on, but what are you actually receiving? And then is that data actually classified correctly? Because when you go through an Avaya system, what you end up having to do is reclassify like the alarms. So there's Avaya's classification of alarms, and then there's the reclassification of alarms. So with the solution that we have as part of our managed services offering, we allow for the reclassification of alarms to be able to provide the best outcome and individualized plan for each customer. So here's an example of one of the alarm management dashboards, and unfortunately there are just so many dashboards that I can only provide little snippets of the actual thing. So one of the things that's really great about the platform is we actually do the alarms by the product type, by the alarm type, and really kind of establish those trends over a set period of time, because that's the whole goal, right? It's not just looking at something at one moment in time. It's looking at things historically to understand where are the problems in your environment, and really kind of looking at those top talker alarms that you're kind of getting. So within this example here, we can see that we get media gateway alarms. There's been 182. So then you can look at this really quickly and understand, well, what's going on in my environment that's causing media gateway alarms? So is there some network connectivity issue? Is it happening at one location? Is it only happening at a specific location? Is a DSCP tags being dropped like across the network or whatever, therefore dropping traffic? So there's a lot of things that can kind of go into something going on in an environment. Is something else happening there where you have a hardware failure or something that's happening that you don't really kind of know about, or it's just a quick flap and you're not capturing that. And then what's kind of great about this is you can obviously compare all of your different verticals, right? So or your different products within your vertical. So let's say communication manager, and you can kind of see like how is your system performing over time. You know what I mean? It's not just looking at one product or one piece. So one thing that I'll say about the intlx 360 platform is the way it was designed was doing things that other products aren't doing. So we've really gone ahead and invested our time into like things that the other aren't in the market space that provide value, and to really kind of just bring it all into a simplified dashboard. So that way it's very easy for somebody to consume the data and understand where there's a problem and understand trends and be able to make decisions. So availability management is another one of those things that we had developed into the platform that we provide a lot of value. So the value that this availability brings is actually, we look at all of the temperature sensors across all of the locations, because we all know that all of this equipment is in closets. Sometimes they're in data centers. You don't go there all the time, so you really have a hard time understanding what's the environment like over there. Obviously, you can get hardware fatigue. Capacitors dry out over time. You know what I mean? And then you start to get hardware faults, or then impact the actual system. So one of the cool things is we take all of the temperature of all the locations that we have access to, and then we bring it into one cohesive map where customers can actually look at the locations and kind of look at where is the temperature creeping up, or what's kind of the average. So you can see some locations are going to be lower than other ones. And one of the things that we actually do that people probably don't even understand or notice is that usually those temperature sensors are actually in Celsius, and we do the conversion automatically for Fahrenheit. So if we not only provide a graph of where the bench line mark is on those systems, but we also provide the actual feedback on what's the asset, what's the location of that, and what's the real status. Is it a high temperature? Is it not a high temperature? So you physically can get a summary looking at it. So you get 31 locations, 21 of them are normal, 10 of them are high. Average temperature is about 86 degrees. So really gives you the capability to understand a picture of your whole environment in one window. So then we talk a little bit about incident management. So, with alarm management, obviously we talked about, that being looking at everything, and then the classification of alarms. Are you getting the right stuff, or is that data being appropriately classified? With the incident management, it's a little bit of a different approach, right? So the alarm management is looking at everything. Vice versa, the incident management platforms really identifying the things that you need to take action on, right? They're the things that are like, hey, Mr. Customer, by the way, I don't know if you know about this, this is coming up and it's going to be a problem. So one of the kind of the amazing things about like the technology that we've created here is we've added a level of automation into the incident management platform, which I don't specifically talk here, but it is one cohesive solution within our managed services offering. So what's kind of great about it, with our incident management platform, we'll actually take it and we marry all of the systems together. Incident management is actually married by many different components. So basically, asset management is incorporated into the incident management, and also is the ticketing systems all integrated. So basically, when an incident comes in, we classify the alarm and we'll automatically take action on that alarm. We'll try to remediate it, which is also included into the CRM system to actually include notes onto the ticket of all of the actions that were performed. And assuming that the action is actually resolved, we'll actually close the ticket out, saving time. Now, I'm probably skipping ahead a little bit. I'm giving too much of a little peek. But with incident management platform, right, we can compare that to the alarm management component and actually see different trends over time. So we can see counts by priority. We can understand how many of those alarms were automatically remediated, how many were high, how many were low, and then also get into the data analytics piece. So what are the assets that are our top talkers within an environment, and how does that compare to everything else that we've received alarms? Also looking at the product, seeing your trends, what are the products that are coming in, you can adjust it by time frame, and then looking at the tickets by equipment. So you can actually see which piece of equipment actually has alarmed the most, and then we kind of break it down into a more granular approach. Now, obviously, I can't provide all of the screenshots, but there's so much detailed data. So one of the things that we also do is we actually show you what are those top alarms that you're getting. You know what I mean? It's all about seeing the data, understanding the data, and being able to take an action on the data to be able to figure out what the root cause of that issue is. Here's another incident management dashboard that we created. So obviously showing your top talkers by sites. So this effectively allows customers or for the intlx Solutions team to be able to understand why is a specific location creating more alarms than another one? Is it because of certificate expiration? Is it because of release management? Are there projects? Are there network issues? Can we cross correlate all of that data to bring the problem management piece of it bring the problem management piece up front and center. So one of the things that's always important in an environment is being able to do CDR. So that's really having that historical call record for the purpose of being able to identify toll fraud, and traffic analysis is crucial to a business. So understanding what's going on, where your traffic's actually going, and this actually works in parallel with the traffic management reports we just released. So I'll actually show some of that in a couple of other slides, but really understanding where did those calls come from, who's making these calls, and then be able to go back historically to say, hey, over the last year, you know what I mean? How many calls have I kind of, processed? Where are those calls going to? And be able to drill down into the details and understand, who's making the calls, where are they going, and track back, why is this call going out to someplace that maybe shouldn't be going. One of the things that that we also brought into the platform that we understood, right? There was some challenges with the certificate management piece. So originally Avaya used to have their own self-signed certificate that was included in the software. They changed that position. So we understood in the market space that certificates were a critical role. Played a critical role in the infrastructure. So that actually got shifted to business partners and for customers to actually have to manage within their environment. So one of the things that's actually interesting is the average certificate now is 1 year in time. And there's all kinds of different types of certificates that you have in your environment. You got self-signed certificates, you got third-party certificates, you get the system manager signed certificates. So there's all kinds of things. And so basically when you look at the actual system, you need to be able to understand when those certificates are coming up for renewal. And it's a full-time job. I can't tell you how many times that we've actually, heard from customers or other business partners where they've, had to manually go in and check these things. And it is very resource intensive, and it can cost customers a lot of money to have a certificate audit. And it's one of those things that's happening year over year. And one of the things that's very interesting in the space is over the next 5 years, certificates are actually going to become that they're going to expire a lot sooner. So the amount of duration that we have, that's right now, is going to continue to happen, but it's going to happen at a more frequent level. So to get that visibility and to be able to manage that, and obviously there's different types of strategies. Every customer has a different strategy. So you want to make sure that your environment is going to be the most secure environment that you have. Certificates play a key important role into that process. So what we've kind of developed here is the giving a full visualization of the certificate. So this is just obviously the landing page. And what we actually allow you to do is obviously we give you the summary, but we also give you the ability to get down into the data logistics of that to understand who signed that certificate, and really kind of nail it down. So you can see how many certificates you have, 30, 60, 90, 120, how many are actually expired, how many total certificates you have into your environment. So this is really key for a lot of customers to be able to manage their environment and understand and at a glance, you know what I mean? Where are they at? And everybody has that, like I said, that different strategy that they're applying. Most customers, like I said, they have their own certificates or system manager as it self-signed with internal and then third party on the outside, right? That's pretty much like a best practice standard within the industry. So that's kind of this component of the intlx 360 dashboard. Then we got to talk about disaster recovery, right? So when you start to talk about disaster recovery, there's so many problems that are out there. You get the cybercrime threats. You got trying to protect yourself and minimize downtime in case something actually happens. So the continuity management platform is a platform that allows for remote backup that are secure and allows you to have that BCDR strategy to be able to recover in a quick amount of time when something happens. You know what I mean? There's hardware failure still. Sometimes, you know what I mean? You have virtual machines that have a problem, software corruption. There's just so many reasons why continuity management is so important to an actual business. What's kind of nice about the platform that we had, right? Not only are we just providing the backups and we're providing it within a cloud in a secure way to be able to get to the backups, we actually make it so that way you can filter it by, equipment, even though it's not shown on here. You can filter by equipment, you can filter by product, you can filter very dynamically within the actual intlx 360 tool. And that's one of the things that we've really been proud of and that we've brought forward to the customers is how do you filter and get to the data that you need to get to the data as quickly as possible. There are other tools out there that provide something like this, but they can be very costly, very things. They may want like a SAN or something in the infrastructure to do this. That could cost $3,000-$4,000 just as a capital investment, and that doesn't even give you access to the actual backups, right? So if that SAN were to have a problem or fail, you have the potential of losing it. Vice versa, a cloud type of deployment. So the whole goal here is to be able to give customers access to their data, make it very easy to navigate and get to that, because that's the last thing that you want to worry about is where's my data, and having that sense of false security if you're using some other platform or tool and you can't get to your data when you need it. Release management is one of the things that we just released. I'm very proud of this. Always talk about version control and improve, to be able to improve system reliability and regulatory compliance. So one of the things that's really important about the release management is there's so many bugs out there, right? And we got to always be thinking about security, right? And stability within our environments. And the way that we do that is through patching, right? But it's really time consuming, right? So I can't tell you how many times in the last, 15 years that, Avaya has said, oh, shell shock has come out, or Heartbleed, or some other security vulnerability. And then now you're scrambling to understand which products are actually impacted by that vulnerability. So one of the things, not only does it help you to maintain and control your environment, the release management piece, but it allows you to give visibility into kind of what your system infrastructure kind of looks like. So with the intlx 360 release management platform, we kind of bring all that information into one dashboard, which is fantastic. The capability is to understand not only the patches that are applied, the kernel patches, the Linux release that you're on, but it's queried. It's queried on a regular basis. It's always up to date. So the challenges of, where am I at in a project? What patches do we need? What's that path forward? Things that are very complex become very easy when you're in the intlx 360 dashboard. The capability of the platform to be able to not only take things that are complex, but bring things to things that are human readable. So we always talk about understanding things and being able to visually represent like data within an environment. So we can look and we break the data out. So we can look at let's say the data. So this is part of the release management. Obviously, there's multiple slides, and I can't talk about or multiple dashboards or widgets that are all part of the intlx 360. So I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of taste of what the platform could do and some of the things that we have. But in this, you can actually see there's 18 MM710 boards. So for a person that doesn't know what an MM710 board is, you can easily go and look and say, okay, well, I got 18 E1T boards actually in a system. So it's doing that automatic conversion for you. So that way you can actually represent what your data really is in your environment. So then when we start to talk about projects or what you have to do, it all marries together, right? You gotta get the security done. You gotta be able to get the stability in. And you do that by looking and upgrading your environment. So you can really see what your environment really consists of all in one place and really make decisions. And what's kind of cool too is we actually show the firmware version vintages. So you can kind of see like, okay, out of all of the different types of boards that you have, you can actually see, if let's say the MM716, you can actually see the 716, you got one on a 106, you get some on a 106 release and you got one on a 103 release. So why is that? Is it inconsistency in the environment? But it's really quick to understand. is your environment consistent across the board, right? Because consistency means stability. And then obviously one of the things that we invested our time into was the traffic management. So, it's really important to understand your trunk utilization. What's your call volumes? What's the status of your trunks? Do you have any out of service incidents within your environment? So one of the key things about the traffic reports is understanding how many call flows, how many calls do I get? How many of those are inbound calls? How many of those are outbound calls? Do I have issues on any of those? And one of the key things that, we could talk about a little bit, and obviously this plays into a bigger thing, is we know E1 T1s are very expensive these days, right? So why are you overpaying? So with our intlx 360 dashboard, not only do we provide the the firmware analytics and all of that information to be able to make decisions, we have the capability to provide you instant insight into your environment. How many CO trunks do you have? How many ISDN trunks do you have? How many SIP trunks do you have? Understanding how many total trunks do you have within your environment, and then be able to take that and present that. So out of all of those trunks, how many of those are having a problem with out of service events? And then being able to do that, because if you're not in a system all the time, and you know what I mean, unless you're getting like a report of it, you don't know if it's flapping, if you're having a problem. What's that look like over a long period of time, right? Do you have that? And then that gives you the capability to understand, who do I need to engage? Like, do we have problems? Is it specific to a location? Is it specific to a media gateway? That's actually within the environment. So all of these details come in. And one of the things that's kind of great about like the dashboards that we created is bringing the full-fledged visibility of not only telling you what the trunk number is, but what that description is within it. So you don't have some weird, TAC number or something that you're trying to understand and cross-correlate. You get the instant visibility of what's actually happening, so you can make educated decisions. So within our tool, one of the reasons why we've gone down the design efforts that we have with the trunking and giving the actual customer name is you may have multiple systems within your environment. So you could have multiple trunk 4s. So you need to know trunk 4 on one system, vice versa trunk 4 on another system. So we bring all of the data to the forefront. And so obviously within the traffic management reports, we bring everything into looking at things over time. So you can look at how much traffic you're actually getting over a set duration, and we follow that same nomenclature that we had before, providing the trunk number, providing any of the information, and then obviously providing the name of where that data came together. So we concatenate all of that data, make it very easy. And then what's kind of cool about like our dashboards, you can just click on, let's say, trunk 12, and it'll just filter everything else out and just show you trunk 12. So it's very dynamic. Everything, that's the whole purpose of everything that we have. Systems, systems within environments or customer environments are never static. They're dynamic. So our tools have to be dynamic in order for us to be able to understand, what's going on in each system environment. So obviously we brought in a CCS measurement in there, so you can actually kind of see, okay, trunk 13, vice versa, trunk 4, and understand like what the usage is. So very clean, very easy to look at the CCS metrics, that you actually have within your environment. And then obviously we have like incoming calls, outgoing calls, total calls per trunk group. So really quick, you know what I mean? You can look at this and actually say, okay, most of my calls go out trunk group 4. And then you can kind of look and understand, well, what's actually trunk group 4, and understand where all of your traffic's actually routing, right? Maybe you don't want your calls out trunk group 4. Maybe you're doing a transition from T1s to SIP trunks, you know what I mean? And you need to know, like, how often is that trunk being hit, or how's all of the failover routing working? So really great, a lot of information, all at your fingertips. One of the things, as a company, you know what I mean, our focus at intlx Solutions is always, providing security, and there is so much lack of security within these dashboards that from other companies, right? Nobody ever thinks about bringing in one whole cohesive solution to understand who has access to the systems? There are so many times that I've seen that, there's access that's brought into a system, or you have employees that are leaving, but the cleanup within the actual environment is always the last thing that actually happens. So to prevent unauthorized access, one of the things that we came up with was a security management dashboard. So what we'll actually do is we'll actually log into the communication manager systems, and we'll actually pull back all of the actual logins. We'll tell you how many accounts. We'll look at when if those counts ever expire. When was the last time they were logged in? And then obviously, when was the last time the passwords were changed, right? So it's one of those things that a lot of times within the telecommunications industry, you know what I mean? We get all of these systems, but then there's never any cleanup or anything that happens, or nobody ever looks at that, right? So to be able to protect your system and be able to really kind of comply and understand what's the risk in your environment, and be able to do that, you know what I mean? Maybe there are logins that you don't want in there anymore. So this really brings that forefront to understand how many actual logins are in the system. One of the things, I just kind of wanted to read this real quick here. We've gone through the case study with the intlx 360 platform, and one of the great things with this is we've got a lot of great feedback. Customers are just raving about the platform. They love the simplicity of well, they like the simplicity of the user interface. And it really is a delicate balance between taking something that's very complex and making it seem very easy. And that's what we do, right? We make it easy to digest. We bring it to the forefront. It's all about, changing and shifting the industry from a reactive management to a problem management solution. So I'm just going to read off a couple of the two feedbacks that we were kind of just posting here. Obviously, we get tons of these, but we could be here all day kind of talking about them. So John C., he basically said this online telecommunications reporting tool is incredibly intuitive, offering seamless access to detailed analytics and insight, and empowers users to efficiently track and optimize their telecom usage, saving time and reducing costs. We also got another one that we're just sharing with everybody in this audience. The intlx 360 ticketing platform is very comprehensive dashboard, which helps Cambridge Health Alliance to monitor our alarms and our service tickets. The software platform allows us to track server issues and provides RCA when needed. A very helpful asset. Thank you, Andy, for all of the great feedback, and just kind of showcasing how the tool effectively helps our customers. One of the things that Kenny had talked about was we had purchased Alarmtraq in 2023. The Alarmtraq product had significantly grown and matured in the last 2 years since we've taken it over. We've been able to add a lot of functionality that wasn't there before. And one of the core goals of that is to be able to take and shift the customers over into that proactive monitoring, the automated workflows, while reducing costs to customers. So really, that's where Alarmtraq Partner Edition actually had thrived from or come from. So being able to take, and we understand tools are so expensive, right? And that's the last thing that customers should be having to worry about, is overpaying for a tool that under delivers. So with the Alarmtraq Partner tool, we provide very, very, it's a feature rich package that actually is at a low cost. And that's the whole goal, to be able to drive innovation through the change. So we had gone through a case study, just kind of a background, and I'm just going to kind of skip over the most important pieces of the case study as we go through the Alarmtraq product. So basically, the whole goal was to, like I had kind of mentioned, advance proactive monitoring capabilities, streamline incident management process, reduce operational overhead, and ensure more responsive actions to critical solutions. The challenges is obviously companies face high operational costs, inefficiencies due to manual incident handling and slow response times. The solution to this is to enhance the actual response times and operational efficiency by automatically triggering predefined actions and integrating it through API into their CRM systems. And that's what the Alarmtraq Partner Edition does. So basically, we can integrate with your ticketing system, and where a lot of these was, like I said, the significance of it is not only can this tool, like, integrate and into the CRM and the ticketing system, it can run actions. It can update the actual tickets with, hey, these were the commands that were done. You have full control over the platform and the commands that are run, and how that tool actually will function for you, because we know that not any customer's needs is the same, right? So the whole goal is to be able to have customization and be able to make the tool work for you. So obviously, the impact of that is reduced response time, streamlined workflows, and a measurable decrease in operational costs. Faster issue resolution, improved productivity, and more cost-effective overall operations. So that's kind of our whole stance, our practice, and kind of the thing that we're going towards. So benefits of the Alarmtraq Partner Edition solution is secured alarming, automated alarm remediation, streamlined onboarding, direct API integrations, easy alarm management, pre-built alarm libraries, cost-effective subscriptions, and alarm filtering. So one of the things that I'll kind of share out with everybody is, and I don't know how many people know this, starting in 10.2.1.1, Avaya has changed their actual licensing model for communication manager. So basically, with this new thing, there's new alarm libraries that had to be created. So we've already taken those alarms and created those. So basically, what will happen is once the license expires after 30 days, all of the call processing will stop on communication managers. It's their new design, and we're ahead of the curve. We're getting this incorporated into the tool, so that way customers are aware of what's going on. And what's also interesting, so it will also use whatever the earliest releases. So if you have an elite license on there and that expires before your communication manager, you won't even, it will use the elite license and expire beforehand before the CM. So you might not even have visibility to it. So it's really important to kind of use the Alarmtraq Partner Edition tool, get the notifications ahead of time. That way you can get ahead and get these subscriptions renewed. So that way you do not have any sort of system impacts to your environment. So with the Alarmtraq Partner Edition tool, what's fantastic about that is we're always looking to expand our integrations with the different platforms. So obviously we have to be multi-vendor, and it's all about being able to integrate. So we integrate with CloudBlue, ConnectWise, OpsGenie, OpsRamps, Zendesk, Freshdesk, Autotask, and we actually do like an email integration as well. So there's all kinds of integrations to the tool, because we really feel that the tool shouldn't be the restriction. Yeah, it's really about enabling the customers to be able to integrate and give the best support and be able to get the most out of the tool. We talked a little bit about the alarm management and talking about what alarm management is, right? Looking at all of the data. And with the Alarmtraq Partner Edition, what we do is we allow for the reclassification of alarms with the pre-populated alarm libraries, so that way you can classify it. So what you can see is there's a maintenance object section. You can actually go in, and it's all about reclassifying the data appropriately. So you can allow duplicate data. If let's say you wanted to run test alarms, you can change the description of something so that way it means something else. You can classify things as a minor or a major. It does allow you to be versatile and to be able to adjust things on the fly. So like I said, it's that feature-rich capability at a low cost. And so one of the things that's also important, you can run the commands that you actually want to run on the system. And then Alarmtraq has logic to say, okay, yes, I've received this, or this system looks like it's up, and then be able to take all of the output of this and be able to pass it off to the engineers. So it can take it, run the data, collect the data, put the data into a ticket. So if it does need human interaction, an engineer or something like that, the data is already collected for you. So you're not reinventing the wheel by having to relog into systems and do that. You have all of the data already pre-collected in the ticket within the intlx 360 managed services solution to be able to say and hit the ground running. So it's all about saving the cost and the efficiencies and the workflows and making sure that, from a tools perspective, we're doing everything that we can to remediate something, and that we're collecting that information along the journey to be able to get a customer to a resolution as quickly as possible. And then obviously there's the incident management. So incident management, we talked a little bit about that. So we have a couple of different dashboards, and one of the things that we've done, and this slide doesn't do it any justice, we've brought in a new workflow engine, which I'll actually show on the other slide. But basically, there's a couple of different things, dashboards that we have within the Alarmtraq Partner Edition. So we have the regular dashboard, we have a wall board so with dashboard, you can delete alarms, can kind of manage it. If you want that type of environment where you can actually stare and look at something, obviously, if you have the API integration, everything's happening in the back end, and you don't have to worry about that. Every knock or every user has a different use case, so that's why we make it as dynamic as possible. So with the new, and I'm going to skip over here to this workflow engine, because this is probably the most intuitive and amazing part of some of the stuff that we've just kind of created, right? So how many times, do you have to do events such as release management or certificate management? And all of these things create alarms, right? They're in the environment, and you have to have a real easy way to be able to disable those alarms and to be able to track what's kind of going on. So if the actual workflow engine, what we've actually created is you actually can filter by company, by site, and disable it at the company level. You can disable alarms at a site level, and you can disable them per equipment. So you can select all of those. You can either permanently block them, you can set it for a time, and then you can actually you have to add a comment, and then it will actually submit the actual rules. So what's fantastic about this workflow engine rule is that it really allows you to stop all of the noise coming into your NOC infrastructure, right? How many times does something come in and you're chasing down something to find out that somebody else already took it, or that, there's an unplanned event or whatever within the environment? Well, with the Alarmtraq Partner Edition workflow engine really allows you to control these scheduled maintenance tasks, so that way you're not flooding your NOC when something's going on. It's all driven through a web page. It's very intuitive. It's very easy to utilize, and it allows you to have full control and only receive the alarm that you need to during change management events. So what will actually happen? I regrettably, I don't think I captured another slide of the alarm. So what's great here is where it says search, you'll get the actual company drop down, and you can actually show things that or assets that are permanently blocked will say all in it. So you can actually show all, which will actually show all of the rules that are actually blocked for these customers, or you can actually choose each customer and be able to see the alarms for the rules applied to the customers. One of the kind of great things about the thing, it also integrates into the ticketing system. So with the ticketing system, it will actually create a ticket saying, hey, this rule's been set up. You can come in, you navigate to the asset workflow management page. You can actually see historical records of what's being blocked, who blocked it, and a reason for it to be blocked. And I think one of the things that we didn't get a capture of is the actual blocked alarm. So you can actually go to the blocked alarms webpage, and you can actually see what alarms have been actually blocked, but you can also see the view alarms. And what's kind of great about this is with this new view alarms page, you can actually filter by customer. So you can get and see alarms in by a customer and filter the data. Vice versa, before it was all of these different pages of just data that you would have to kind of stream through. So we're really bringing in the efficiencies and the ability to get the data as quickly as possible. That kind of wraps up my spiel today. I'm just kind of talking about the intlx 360 platform and the Alarmtraq Partner Edition. Obviously, you can see that there's been a huge amount of time in trying to bring this into one cohesive solution that customers can take advantage of. So thank you very much for all of your time today. At this point, I think we're going to be taking questions and answers, and I will be passing this off to Carly. Carly, can you please, provide any questions that have come in, and I will be happy to answer those. And obviously, if you have a question and you prefer not to put it in the chat, we can take it offline and go from there.
Perfect, thank you. One of the questions was, what Avaya products do you currently support backups on?
So that's one of the amazing things about the intlx 360 platform. So with the managed services of intlx 360, there are a lot of platforms within the Avaya portfolio that actually natively don't do backups to remote servers. So one of the things that we've actually done with our in-house technology is actually logged in and done the CMS backups. So we'll pull the CMS backups off. We'll pull off the AADS backups through our IP proprietary solution. Obviously, there are other backups that can be performed for the Avaya portfolio. The system manager, communication manager. We actually have the AADS configurations that we can actually pull off. There are pretty much any of the platforms that Avaya can support remote backups off of, we support.
A quick one, because I do have a couple others and we're on a time crunch here. Is this something you charge your managed services customers for separately, or do you include it as part of your offering? And really quick, to others that had pricing questions, feel free to reach out via email and we'll get back to you with the specifics.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So actually, this is the fantastic thing. If you're an intlx Solutions managed services customer, you get the intlx 360 platform free of charge. All of that is included as part of your managed services. Managed services.
That's correct. Yeah.
If we already have a contract with Avaya, can we still purchase intlx 360 as an add-on from intlx?
Yeah, I don't, as long as it's a direct customer relationship, I think that's something that we would be open to pursuing and being able to integrate. There are obviously requirements that have to be met in order for the solution to integrate, but yes, that is something I think we would be able to do.
Okay, and the last one, do you have to buy each module differently like you do with other tools, or do you get all the features shown in the webinar included with the purchase?
That's a fantastic question as well. So actually, that's the fantastic thing, and I want to kind of talk about this model. So this is like the amazing part about the intlx 360 platform. A lot of these other tools out there, they go by ports, and it gets really, really expensive. I mean, thousands and thousands to tens of thousands of actual dollars. We actually just include everything. You know what I mean? We're not trying to undercut a customers. We feel customers deserve the full value of the actual platform.
Perfect. Thank you. That was it for questions.
Absolutely. And feel free, make sure you reach out to us. We'll help you guys. We'll work through the logistics of things and make sure that you guys get taken care of with our platforms.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Maddie, for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jeremy, Kenny, and Carly, for taking the time to speak with us today. As a reminder to our attendees, this webinar was recorded and available for you on demand. You'll receive an email with a link to the recording in the next 24 hours. Please visit our website at iaug.org to learn more about IAUG Converge and how you can attend. And please be sure to complete the short evaluation that will pop up as you exit the webinar. And from all of us at IAUG, thank you and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.